Howdy everyone, on today's video we're going to show you how to do a paracord wrap, and in this case we'll be wrapping the grip or the handle on a fishing pole, but the method I'll be showing you can be adapted to wrap any number of things. Now before we get started, here's what you need to do this successfully. You'll need of course some paracord. I kind of like orange, so that's the color we'll be using today. Now this is a solid color. It'll be kind of plain looking, but they do make paracord with designs on it, and it gives it a nice pattern once you're done. But I like orange, so here we go. Number one, you're going to need a few things before we get started, and here they are. You'll need a utility knife with a fresh, super sharp razor blade, because this stuff can be a trick to cut. A pair of hemostats or needle nose pliers or some really pointy fingers for pulling out that inner core of the paracord. More on that later. You'll need a pair of pliers or a wooden dowel. These are going to be used for making a handle to help pull the end of the paracord into or under itself to lock the end of your wrap job into position once you're done wrapping. Next, a pack of smokes and a lighter. Okay, just a lighter. This is for burning the ends of the paracord so the ends don't fray. Finally, some good heavy line like braid or heavy mono line to pull the tag ends of the paracord back under itself to lock it into position. Now this line should be heavy, like 50-pound test and up, because we'll be using a lot of force to pull it through, especially if you wrap your paracord nice and tight. We'll get into wrapping in just a second, but first, the reason I want to wrap this particular fishing pole is that it has a big fat cork handle. I just don't like it. It feels like I'm holding onto a fence post. Now if you have a fishing pole that has rubber or some other sort of handle material, you'll need to go ahead and clean off that existing material first. Okay, now here we go. After you've removed your existing material, don't sweat it if it's not perfectly clean underneath, because it'll be well underneath this new wrap. The only thing to watch out for is if you have lumps of the previous handle material left under there. If you do, you'll be like the princess and the pea. And if you don't know what that is, ask your mother. And if she doesn't know what that is, it just means I'm old and can't relate to you younger. Now we'll start our wrap like this. Cut the end off of your fresh new mess of paracord, which comes from the factory burnt. It just keeps it from fraying. And we'll start by grabbing the core of the paracord with either your pointy fingers, needle nose, or hemostats that we told you about earlier. We're going to pull that core out and push the outside sheath back, and that'll expose about 4 or 5 inches or so of the inner core. Now just take and cut that sucker off using your nice sharp scissors. What this does, it allows the end of the paracord to lay nice and flat, since it doesn't have that bulk of the inner core. Now you don't have to do this, it'll work without doing this, but people will look at you strangely when you show them your nice new wrap job, and they'll say something like, "Well, it looks nice enough, but I can tell you didn't pull out the inner core and trim that off before you started wrapping it. Would you just look at that?" Who needs that kind of negativity in their life? Start by laying this nice flat piece of paracord against whatever you're wrapping at the very end, and start your wrap right where the inner core starts up again. Start wrapping your paracord round and round. Be sure and pull it very tight as you wrap it. Okay, continue wrapping the paracord, and there's a few different ways you can do this. You can take the paracord and pass it around the end of the handle as you wrap, which you see me doing now, and then you'll see me change to the spinning the rod method, which is a bit more work, but the paracord doesn't twist when you apply it. Just remember to keep it tight. Now while making this video, I discovered another tool that you don't necessarily need, but they sure help a lot. These cheap little plastic clamps are perfect for holding stuff. They have a serrated grip inside the clamp, and they work really well for securing your work. And to quote the great American statesman Toby Keith, get you some. Now once you get near the end of the section where you're wrapping, it's time to lay in the line that we'll use to pull the loose end of the cord back under itself to lock the cord in place and finish the wrap. Now here I've used about a 30-inch piece of 65-pound braid fishing line. I tied it into a loop, doubled it over. You'll lay this lengthwise along the handle, so we'll have a loop to pass the paracord through, and on the other end we'll have enough to wrap around our handle. Now continue wrapping until you get to the end of the wrap, and make a note or a mark on the point where the wrap would end. Go about 4 or 5 inches beyond that and cut your cord. Now unravel a bit of your cord, and then you can once again pull out the core and cut it off. Now finish the wrap to the end, and then you'll have a nice flat piece of paracord sheath sticking out. We'll pass this in through the loop that we made in the braided fishing line. And on the other end of the braided fishing line, we'll tug that just a little bit to secure it and get ready for the really fun part. Now if you've left yourself plenty of line, you'll have enough line to wrap around your handle. In this case, it's a piece of 3/4 inch wooden dowel. Wrap it round and round the dowel to make your handle. Now it's been all fun and games up to this point, but stuff's about to get real. This takes quite a bit of effort to pull this end back under your wrap. And these are almost actual sounds of me trying to pull this thing through. It's very hard to do. See? Told you. Easy peasy. Now you'll have the tag end sticking out. You want to cut it off and leave about 1/4 inch sticking out. Melt this with your lighter and then mash this while it's still hot against your paracord wrap. It'll fuse and help hold the end in place. Rinse and repeat for the other section of handle and done. Thanks for watching.